the motivation for writing a story that has a good guy in it is actually one of the simplest motives that you could possibly understand, is that we learn oftentimes, especially as children, by emulating and imitating. And oftentimes the best way of thinking about a leader, subconsciously we kind of understand and know this, but sometimes it's hard to articulate that the best leader is not the guy who's most well spoken, or the guy who's loudest, or the guy who has the biggest gun. Often the best leader is somebody who is worth following. And it's oftentimes we have this starved piece of us that desires to see something worth following, right? That's one of the reasons why when you see somebody who's a Christian who has this kind of really consistent lived countenance, right, where they consistently live out the elemental basic principles of Christianity. They're presentable, they're well rounded in the scripture, they know what they're talking about, but they're also a very charitable, they actually genuinely care about people, they want the good for people, and they go out of their way to be self-sacrificial, to be the person that can bring about good for people, even if it's something that's costly to themselves, right? And you see that, and it inspires in you some level of awe and appreciation, right? It gives you to them, it gives to you some sort of level of respect for them that allows you to look at them as something that's worth seeing above you. That's something which is what we mean by looking up to someone, right? When you look up to someone, you actually see them as, in some sense, higher or superior to yourself in some real way. And that superiorness, that superness, allows them a position to be something worth emulating and imitating. And so even secular people have the experience of that longing. It shouldn't be at all surprising to us as Christians that these people who were made in the image of God should have a drive in themselves and a passion to see something worth emulating and worth imitating. And if they don't see it out here, what they're going to do is write it down in here and try to present for themselves something from their own fantasies that allows that kind of thing to take image. And it's because oftentimes it's because the world has become a dark place that people are looking for light. And that's, I think that's probably one of the reasons why even secular stories have the same themes and elements, aside from the fact that that's just the world that we live in. To be honest with you, as humans, like, that's how we are. When you're a child, you look up to your parents first, and then you look up to other children who are your age, then you look up to children who are a bit older than you, and then you look up to people who do things that you yourself aspire to do. And it's only because those things are relevant to you, that you would be looking for that. And so I feel like that shared sense of relevance for the longing to see something worth following, because we're made to worship. That's what we're made to do. We're made to worship, and one of the powers of worship is becoming. You become that which you imitate. You become like that which you emulate. And the things that you look up to are the things that you're going to, let's say, submit yourself to trying to become. And that's a form of worship, right? And so you try to follow the good. And in so doing, you're trying to follow the very good, which is God. God is the good, again, that all goodness comes from God, right? And so you see something good, you naturally want to follow it. Why is it natural to you? Because it's in your nature as an imager of God to follow things that would be compatible with the person that God designed you to be. It's part of the divine intent, I believe.